Good morning, learners. Welcome to today's math lesson. And today we are going to start a new chapter all together, as I promised you earlier on. I know it's something we have not covered. We'll be able to cover that later. That is number sequences involving fractions. We are going to cover that later after this unit. But just before to start, I want to give you some work. There is a question number 4 that many of you are having a problem with, which says, I saw cells produced in 3/4 liter bottles only. One day you prepared 18 3/4 liters of juice. How many bottles of juice could he sell from this? Now, in this question number 4, the quantity to be packed is 18 3/4 liters to be packed into 3/4 liters. So you're going to say 18 and 3/4 divided by 3/4. This is a quantity to be divided into 3/4, so that you can know how many bottles will be found in this one. So in this case, we're going to multiply with this with 1, we'll get 72 plus 3. That is going to be 75/4 divided by 3/4. From there, we're going to change this sign and also change this fraction. That's going to be 75/4, then multiplied by the reciprocal of this, which is 4/3. 4, 1 divided by 4, 1. Divided by 3, 1. 25 by 3, you get 25. And in this case, therefore, you get 25 bottles. But not as 1/25 as some of you were saying. So that is what I wanted to correct before we move on. Now in this case, we are going to deal with decimals. And now in decimals today, I know you have done decimals in other classes, but here in class 6, we are going to cover decimals up to 10,000. So I want to show you what a 1,000 is, 1,000 over decimal is, and a 10,000 over decimal is. So we're going to begin from, when we talk about 1,000, 1,000. When you talk about 1,000, means 1, like for example, if we're talking about a 10, 110. 110 simply means 1/10. This in decimal is just, look at this one, it's 1/10. So the decimal point of our number is to the right hand side of the number. So the decimal point is here. So if you are dividing 1/10, that means 10 is outside and then 1 is inside here. How many 10 times do 10 get into 1? 0 times. You cannot get into 1. So we say 0 times and then you put a point and we add a 0 there. So 10 gets into 10 1 time. You get 10. Getting a 0 there. So 1/10 simply means 0.1. 1/10 simply means 0.1. You can have 100. 100. Now, this is not 100, it's 100 with TH. That means it's a decimal. 100 means 1/100. So how else can you write this as a decimal? 100 means 1/100, and so this is decimal point. You simply say 100. Remember we talked about the denominator being outside, the numerator being inside when you're dividing. So 1 is there. How many times do 100 get into 1? 0 times. 100 cannot get into 1. Cannot be divided by 1. So you get 0 times. You add a 0 there. You can ask yourself, how many times do 100 get into 10? It is not possible. You put a 0 there. Adding a 0 there, you also add a 0 there. And then you ask yourself, how many times do 100 get into 100? 1 time. It's true. So you get 0 here. So what you get here answer is 1/100, which is written as 1/100, is simply 0.01. But there's another way of writing this without dividing, just like this. What I'm going to show you. Now we talked about 1/10. How do we write this as a decimal? Learn, I want you to see here. When you want to write this as a decimal, you just count the number of zeros. How many zeros are here, Lana? 1 0. You don't count this 1, count this 0. Only 1 0. So that means the decimal point is there. So it is going to move back. When you're dividing with zeros, the decimal point moves this direction, backwards. So the decimal point is going to move the number equal to the number of zeros, times equal to the number of zeros. So one time, like that, it will come there, and you add a 0 there. So this becomes, you read this, 0.1. So you write here 0.1. We talked about 1 over 100, which is 100. So how many times is the decimal point going to move backward? 2 times, because we have 1, 2 zeros. We count the number of zeros, 2. So if 1 is there, then means the decimal point is there. It's going to move backward 2 times. So 1, 2. And because there is no number here, we add a 0. Where you make a curve and so number, you put a 0 there. So the decimal point has moved from here 1, 2. So the decimal point is there. Then you add a 0 there. So this becomes 0.01. 0.01. If you look at this number, decimal place there, 1, 2. 1, 2 zeros. 1, 1, 0. So exactly, without dividing here, you can simply know what we are talking about in terms of decimal. So I wanted to show you something like that, so that now we move to what we call a thousand and a 10. Sorry, a 10,000. So a thousand or 1,000 means 1 over 1,000. So how do you write this as a decimal, Lana? You count the number of these the zeros, 1, 2, 3. So the decimal point is there. It's going to move back 1, 2, 3 times. 1, 2, 3. So it will be there. Then you add a 0 there. So where there are curves and there is no number, you put 0 there. So this is going to be 0 point, 0 point, then 1, 2 zeros, and then 1. Now you have seen what you are doing. Then we got 110,000. 110,000 in this case is going to be 1 over 10,000. Just like that. So you count yourself, you see. How do you write this as a decimal? You count the number of decimal points, zeros, sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. So the decimal point is there, and we are dividing. Meaning that the decimal point is going to move backwards. How many times? 1, 2, 3, 4. We move it to 1, 2, 3, and 4. After putting the decimal point there, you add a 0 there. So you add, these are curves without digits, so you add zeros, so that you can have digits there. So this is going to be 0.123, 1, 2, 3, and then 1. If you count the number of zeros here, 1, 2, 3, 4. The number of decimal places, any digit after the decimal point, we call it a decimal place. So the decimal places here are 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now after reaching there, I want to show you what 1,000 is in this case. So we have a number, we've said that in decimal it becomes 0.001. Now we want to see in terms of place value. This first digit here is 10. We don't begin with ones. When we counting from this side, we begin with ones towards the direction because these are all numbers. But from the decimal point towards your right hand side, we begin with tens. The second one of the tens, we go to hundreds. So this is hundreds. Then the next one number here is hundreds, we go to thousands. And therefore, that's where we get the name 1,000s. 1,000s. So how many thousands? 1,000s. So 1,000 is simply written as 1 over 1,000. Just write the 1, then count how many zeros, and then so put that there 1, 2, 3. 1 over 1,000. So if you want to look for this one, this becomes tens, hundreds, 10, so thousands, and then this comes 10,000s. So that's what we calling a place value. Now we will have a place value table to be able to fully understand what we are doing. I know you have done it in class 4, 5, and we are also going to do it in class 6. The place value table. Place value table. And we are going to have a table that comprises of. So we have ones, tens, hundreds, ones, tens, hundreds. So this is going to be ones, tens, hundreds. The decimal point is going to be here. Where we have that thick line. So the thick line is going to represent the decimal point. There is a difference between decimal place and decimal point. These are decimal points. Decimal place is the number of digits after the decimal point. So in this case, we are going to have tens, hundreds, and then 10,000. 3, 4, 10. So we are going to have, immediately after the decimal point, we have tens with TH, then hundreds, then thousands, TH, and then lastly 10,000s. In that case. So we are going to treat, given a number, like for example, can be given. So whenever you are given a number, that's what is the place value of a certain digit learner, you draw this place value table. You can give a number like I'm going to give you here. You can be given a number like 293.464. 293.464. That is one number. Another number 912.705. Can also be given a number C 0.982. Can also be given B 13.231. And lastly, can be given a number 297.120. So you can be told to find the place value of the numbers that are given there. So if you want to write this well, learner, you begin from where the decimal point is. The decimal point is there. So after the decimal point, what we have for the decimal point, the first digit we have is 4, the next is 6, and lastly we have 4. Then this side of decimal point to the left hand side, what number do we have there? We begin with 3. What follows is 9, and lastly we have 2. So we have fitted that in a place value table that this is read as 293.464, not 464. After the decimal point, we mention each number alone. So there's no way you can say 293.464. That is wrong. Mathematically, that is wrong. After the decimal point, you say each number alone. So it's 293.464. So the place value of digit 4, immediately at the decimal point, is tens. The place value of digit 6 is hundreds. The place value of digit 4, the last 4, is thousands. And you get it clear like that. Let's fit this next into the place value table. We have 912.705. So after the decimal point there, the immediate number that we have there is 7, followed by 0, and lastly we have 5. Then on this side, the decimal point, on the ones you have 2, then tens you have 1, and then hundreds you have 9. So this is simply 912.705. So in this case, someone can ask you, what is the place value of digit 9? So you come here with digit 9, read above, digit 9 is in the place value of hundreds. So you just write your answer as hundreds. So in this case, we have 0.982. So after the decimal point, every time I'm dividing the decimal point because that's where we begin from. So you can either begin there going right or begin there going left. So I prefer going right first. So to the right hand side, the first number we have is 9. The one that follows is 8, and then we have 2. To our left hand side, the number that is there is 0. So the place value of 0 in this case it will be ones. So don't say 0 is 0, no. 0 is ones there. And so our number is 0.982. The place value of 8 is just go up there and you find it's hundreds with TH. Then this one you can only fit it here. 0.231, 0.231. Then on this side we have 3.1. So this means this is 13.231. 13.231. And lastly, we have our last digit here, which is 297.120. So from the decimal point here, which is there, and the decimal point must be aligned, must be found in one line. Don't put it here and put it here. You will get a wrong number. So from here, we have 1, then 2, and then 0. From this side, we have 7, then 9, then 2. So that's how we place every number in its place value table. So if you look at that, you can be able, we have moved from tens, hundreds, thousands, and our last digit is 10,000s. So in a question you can be asked, what is the place value? We write a question here. Another question. What is the place value of 6? What is the place value of digit 6 in each of the following numbers? In each of the following numbers. Can be given a number A, 296.05, 296.231, can be given 193.624, can also be given 23.946. D can also be given 19.361. So you are asked to get the place value of digit 6. So you underline the digit 6 where you are getting it from, and then you move to the place value chart. If you move to the place value chart, the first digit after, on the left side hand side of the place value chart, this digit is ones. So the place value of 6 is ones. Then the next number is 103.624. So at the decimal point, the first digit is tens. You are reading here, Lana. At the decimal point, the first digit, the place value of that digit is tens. So you write here tens. Then you move to this one, Lana, 23.946. The last digit is the place value of 10,000s. 10,000s. And lastly, 19.361. 19.361. 6, you find it in the place value of thousands. So you write yourself thousands there. So all this is what you are expected to do in such an exercise. So having said that, Lana, I want to give you some work. That is going to be exercise 48. Remember, number 3, write each of the following as decimals. Remember what I said? Just count the number of, like for example, I'm given 13 over 1,000. Write it as a decimal. The decimal point is of our whole number, because 13 is our whole number. The decimal point is there. So we said when we are dividing, the decimal point moves backwards. So it is going to move backwards equal to the number of decimal mean zeros which we have here. 1, 2, 3. So it's going to move 1, 2, 3. So the decimal point is there. You add a 0 there. Where there is no number, you add a 0. And then you read this number. This number is 0.013. That becomes your answer. Don't write for me 0.0. No. I'm supposed to say at the decimal point, I'm supposed to say 3 digits. 1, 2, 3. To mean 3 decimal places. So the answer becomes 0.013. So that is what we will be doing in number 3. So I want to give you work. That is going to be exercise 48. Exercise 48. That is going to be found in page 66. Page 66 from number 1 to 3. Number 1 to 3. Number 1 is a place value table that is supposed to be drawn and drawn when. So after doing that work, you realize that everything is simple for you. So until next time, learner, do that work well. Ensure you have this place value table in your book. Write it so well so that anytime you're given a number, you can just fit it there and get the place values of those digits. So until next time, learner, I want to wish you a very busy day ahead.